Good evening, folks, and welcome to the Entrefluential Life podcast. This is episode 9, and I am your host, John Tanner. I am going to be flying solo today because Sebastian was unable to join us. He's not feeling well today, so please keep him in your prayers and that he has a speedy recovery. All right, so I am going to be presenting the physical tip of the day, and for you, I have a brief description of Tai Chi. Now, I started practicing Tai Chi about a month and a half ago, and I found a few different instructors, and all their styles are different from each other. And I also found Qigong, right? So there's Tai Chi and there's Qigong, and they're both really interesting. I'll talk about Qigong another time. Right now, I'm going to talk to you about Tai Chi. I'm going to give you a brief description that I found from a website called everydaytaichi.org. Now, this is a description of the 24-form Yang style short form Tai Chi. What I've been doing is an even shorter form of Tai Chi by this guy named Luis Duarte, who I found on YouTube. It's in Spanish. I think he's in Guatemala. Anyway, Luis, you can look him up if you do. I don't even really understand everything in Spanish because my Spanish isn't that great, but I watch it and I can follow along. And so I've been having fun doing that. And I haven't done it in about a week, so shame on me. I need to go do that. Maybe I'll do that when I get off this podcast this evening. So here's the description from Lucille Chan from everydaytaichi.org. The Yang style is the most popular, and it consists of slow, continuous, soft, and circular movements in a flowing form. To do Tai Chi, you perform a series of postures or movements in a slow, graceful manner. Each posture flows into the next without pausing. All forms of Tai Chi include rhythmic patterns of movement that are coordinated with breathing. In order to perform Tai Chi properly, the body moves as a unit. Timing of movement is very important. All parts of the body start and end at the same time. During transitions and weight shifts, the weight is ideally on one foot, keeping the body upright, commonly referred to as separating the weight or substantial and insubstantial. The slower and lower the movement, the greater the strength and endurance benefit. So that's her description on her website, everydaytaichi.org. And if you're an elder, then you might want to follow her because her videos are easy to do for elders. And then if you want to have a little bit more rigorous, you can explore on YouTube to find some videos that have a little bit more action, a little bit more movement, a little bit more weight balancing. So I like Luis Duarte, and there's another guy, I think his name is P-E-I last name. I can't remember his first name, but the videos are on YouTube. So do some exploring and find yourself some videos to watch on Tai Chi. I love it. It's so much fun. So you're balancing yourself between heaven and earth. You're grounding with the earth. You're bringing in white light, good, clean energy, and you bring it and you push it down through the center meridian of your body, the center line of your body, and then you receive balance, right? It's just so cool. So dive into it. Listen to what they tell you. All these little different exercises that you do to get your blood flowing. Your energy is moving throughout your body through your blood flow. So you want to get your blood flow moving. You do some different warm-up exercises. You pat your body down. You move all of the energy throughout your body so that it's balanced. It's really, really cool. And then in Qigong, you pack your energy after you do your exercises. You pack the energy and you store it in your body so that you can use it in future times. But it's really, really, really cool stuff. So my tip of the day for physical is start practicing Tai Chi. It's so cool to get balanced, right? We need balance. It's like the yin and the yang, these different energies that are flowing through us, and it's really good to get that balance. All right, so that's physical tip of the day. For mental, I've got 15 wealth affirmations, and I'm going to go over 5 of the wealth affirmations with you today. And we'll do the 5 the next Tuesday, and then the last 5 we'll do in 2 weeks from now. So here are the first 5 of 15 wealth affirmations. Number 1, and what you want to do is you want to repeat these on a daily basis, right? You write these 15 affirmations down or find 15 other wealth affirmations and then recite them every morning. so you can program your mind to become wealthy. Number one, passive income flows steadily into my life. Number two, I have awe-inspiring physical wealth. Number three, I trust that as a creator, I am creating wealth. Number four, I trust in God's heavenly supply of money. And number five, I am no longer limited by my old conditioning. So those are the 5 wealth affirmations for today. All right, that's our mental tip of the day. And now for our our spiritual tip of the day, we're going to turn to Philippians 4:8. And I got this from Today's Turning Point by Dr. David Jeremiah. I usually go through these different cards that I have from Dr. Jeremiah, but I wanted to go with today's word of the day, today's turning point, because it struck a chord with me. It resonated with me. So I hope that it's going to resonate with you as well. So here's the Bible verse, and then we're going to write down how he describes to apply it in your life. Fix your thoughts on what is true and honorable and right and pure and lovely and admirable. Think about things that are excellent and worthy of praise. All right. I love that. True, don't deal with lies. Honorable, yes. Why not? Why would you do something that's dishonorable? No. Right, the right path, the good things, pure, clean, lovely, yes, lovely. That's opposite of what is the opposite of lovely? Ill-willed. And then admirable. Yeah, of course it's great to do things that are admirable. If you're thinking about things that are admirable, then people are going to value you more. That's important, right? We like to be valued. All right, so let's unpack why we should be thinking about these things, right? The dictionary defines a filter as a device through which air or liquid is passed to remove impurities. A filter, right? Just like this filter cleans the sound going to the microwave, right? I mean, into the microphone. People wore masks during COVID, hoping to filter out the virus. Our swimming pools have filters to keep the water pure. We need oil filters for our cars, air filters for our heating systems, coffee filters for our morning cups, aquarium filters for our fish, and light filters for our cameras. What filters our mind, keeping our thoughts pure? There's only one filter for the mind, and that's the Word of God. When you internalize His Word through diligent study and memorization, it builds an internal, spiritual, and mental filter that helps us fight temptation, resist depression, and increase our wisdom. Through studying God's words, our minds are renewed and our hearts are cleansed. So what are 3 benefits from studying the Word of God? Number 1, you have this filter that helps you fight temptation, right? Because we know that temptation leads you to trouble, right? Which is the way that ends up in death. Because when you do simple things like giving in to lust, for instance, you could get AIDS, you could die from that. Well, now we have medications that keep you around, but it's still the end result is death, right? Or maybe you drink too much and you get sclerosis of the liver and you die because of that. So there's different things that will cause you to die, right? Or you say, oh, I want that person's car, and you go rob the person in the car, you could end up getting killed in the process, right? So temptations, you have to avoid temptation so that you don't end up in death or other things, right? Because like you could be dismembered or you could be locked up in jail and that could ruin your whole life. There's a whole bunch of other complications that happen. But number 1 is having these mental filters, these spiritual mental filters, helps you avoid temptation, right? So you can live a better quality of life. Number 2, to resist depression. God knows we all are dealing with depression on a higher level today than we have in the past, especially after COVID, right? Post-COVID. So it helps you resist depression, because if you feel like you're loved by God, then even if you don't have anybody else in your life, as long as you have an emotional relationship with God, you don't feel alone as you would otherwise. So having that feeling and connectedness to other people who are Christians as well. So you have the body of Christ. You have other people who are like-minded who love you. I mean, you can meet a Christian, you've never met them before, and because you're both Christians, you're going to connect with each other and you're going to be gentle with each other. So that's really valuable. So you have to resist depression. And then the third benefit of it is to increase your wisdom, right? So there's a whole bunch of like the Psalms and the Proverbs in the Bible give you a lot of value, right? That you can apply, whether you're a Christian or not. You could take some of the values that are in there and apply them in your life, whether it be in business or in your personal relationships with other people, and there's value in it. So there's wisdom, right? So learning those things and applying them is beneficial. So those are three benefits from having this mental filter. So I wanted to share that with you for the spiritual tip of the day. And now we're going to turn to the entrepreneurship tip of the day. And we're going to go back to the 11 characteristics of successful entrepreneurs from Harvard Business School Online. And today we have comfort with failure. And so the script reads, a startup can fail for various reasons, such as a flawed business model or a lack of focus. While many obstacles can be avoided, some are inevitable. Successful entrepreneurs prepare themselves for and are comfortable with failure. Rather than let fear hold them back, they allow the possibility of success to propel them forward. So what's the key takeaway? If you're an entrepreneur, be prepared to deal with some failure in your life. I don't know of any business that you can get into that you're not going to deal with failure. It's just a part of the process. There's growing pains, and without those pains, you're not going to have context. You're not going to have resiliency. It's just a fact of life. And there's just nothing, whether you're an entrepreneur or not, there's just nothing in life that doesn't have downsides, right? Life is a circle. Life is, if you look at the circle goes up and comes down, goes up and comes down. And so sometimes you have high moments and other times you have low moments. The key is to not stay in the bottom, but keep moving upward, right? Keep moving upward. And then when you're down, when you're having a downward cycle, then you have at least hope that you know that you're going to get through it. You're going to get back up to the other side, and they're going to be good times, right? So just as it applies to your personal life, it also applies to business, and you have to be prepared for that. And remind yourself that fear that you have stands for false evidence appearing real. FEAR, fear, false evidence appearing real. It's just a perception. So have yourself a perception switch. Look at the thing, whatever it is that's troubling you, analyze it, and come up with a solution, right? Right. If you can't ask other people to get you out of a sticky situation, then write down whatever that sticky situation is and put it in your mind, and you'll let your dreams deal with it and come up with a solution for it. Okay. Outstanding. So that's comfort with failure. That is our entrepreneurship tip of the day. And then for our influential tip of the day, we have social proof. This is the last of the principles of influence by Dr. Robert Cialdini. If you show people that a high percentage of others like themselves are already doing something that you want your audience to particularly do, and your audience is specifically they're uncertain about what they should do, then what you can do is show them what other people are doing. And by showing them what other people are doing and how it's applicable to them in their life, then they're going to be more enticed to get on the bandwagon and follow what everybody else is doing. Hey, well, if everybody else is doing it, I should be doing it too, right? So you want to influence them to get on the bandwagon and join you and do the same thing as well. So one of the examples that was used in a text that I found online that describes social proof was that in hotels, they wanted to minimize the use of towels, or using a brand new towel every time a guest takes a shower. So what they did was they put these little notes where they hang the towels that said, in order to conserve water, to reduce our impact on the planet, go green. We're asking our guests to use a towel more than once, and by that we will have to wash less towels and reduce our water usage, right, and electricity. And so when they did that, when they put that note, there was a 33% increase of reuse of the towels. And then they went a step further, and they added a note. They added a line to that message and said that other people are already doing the same thing too, right? 33% of our guests have been using the same towel. And when they did that, when they added that extra line saying other guests are doing the same thing too, they're reusing their towels, that percentage went up an additional, it was 35%, and then it went up an additional 33%. So they got up to 68% of guests reusing towels because they said that other guests were using the towels. So they gave the note. The reason was environmental wellness. and then they added the message of social proof that other people are doing it, and it went up to 68%. That's phenomenal, right? That is a fantastic use of social proof, and I'm sure that you have seen examples of that in the past, right? Where people are doing that too. So that is our influential tip of the day, is by showing others that other people are doing it, and especially if the other people are like them, then that is fantastic. That'll be very helpful. All right, guys. So that concludes the 5 tips of the day, and now we're going to turn to our guest on the show, and we'd
Hey,
like to welcome Robert Patton. How are you, sir?
very well, John. How are you? Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for coming on board. So, number one, we have something in common. This is our first time meeting, and you probably don't know this about me, but I'm a veteran too. So
Nice.
I was Army Reserve and then Navy active duty after the reserves. But I didn't go to war like you did. You were in Iraq,
Uh,
for 2 tours, right?
I did 2 tours with the Army, and in 2006 and 7 and 8, they kind of bled into each other.
Okay,
And
that was a
that's
lifetime ago, right?
right. It feels like it. I was such a young man, getting gray
Right.
over here, but it's been a lot. Since then, we've come a long way. I got out to start this business, Sheath.
Yes.
So hearing you talking about entrepreneurs and failing forward, I'm very familiar with that. Um, that's how I got to where I am, and we're doing really well. If and no one's ever heard of Sheath, it's a underwear company, a men's underwear company, and we are grossing millions of dollars in sales, and it's just steadily plugging away, grinding towards the rainbow, the golden pot at the end of the rainbow or whatever.
That's awesome. We got to keep the Irishman away from it, right? The the leprechaun from from
No, don't
interrupting that,
take
right?
it.
That flow. So this is really cool, man. So let me ask you before we get started here into deep diving into how you've been building your business up, which is really amazing. So before you went to the service, how old were you when you went in? By the way,
26.
you were 26 when you went in. Okay, so I was 17 years old when I went to the Army
Wow.
Reserve, and
Yeah.
then I was 25 when I went to Navy. So
Yeah.
26 years old. So you already had some things going on in your life before that. What was that? What was going on in your life before Army?
I got in a little bit of trouble when I was like 18, 19 in college, and
No,
a little bit.
no.
So I kind of started over in California, started
Uh-huh.
doing some temp jobs, started really like reapplying myself. I had like read this book, Think and Grow Rich, and
I love that book, by the way. Yeah.
it's one of my favorite. And it
Yes.
kind of just changed my mind state from, and getting in trouble can kind of help you sometimes if you don't get in too much trouble, and it teaches you a lesson. So it stopped me in my tracks, and I got a fresh start in California, and I started doing temp jobs and payroll and um, human resources, and I was doing well. I liked
Okay,
it.
so that's good because you're already started to develop your rubric, your lexicon on business, all things business administration,
Yeah, yeah,
right?
really, yeah. And
Right.
I'm working at a
That's
at a
great.
fashion corporation in Southern California. I was able to see the inner workings of kind of from afar. I
Huh.
just did payroll, and that was just a coincidence. You know,
Okay.
I went to a temp agency, and they put me there as a accounts payable rep, and I kind of
Well,
worked my way up. I and I
what
liked it. It was
what kind
fun.
of fashion? What kind of fashion are you talking about here?
It was women's fashion. It was the Wet Seal Inc. Corporate.
Wet Seal. I remember Wet Seal.
They're in malls.
They were in the malls. Yeah, yeah. We had the Wet Seal and Color Ridge Mall in Miami. Yeah. Oh, that's
So
cool. Okay.
I have been able to like think back to that time and look um, at like buyers and getting samples and dealing with other just companies trying to do business with you, and just people are always coming to me now every day, all day, emails. We're going to 10x you. We can give you this new app or this new product, and it's going to take you to the next level. What they don't think about though is, do I even have enough inventory? Like, what if you did 10x me? Then what am
Right.
I going to
You're
do?
gonna have, yeah, inventory crisis.
I'm not selling digital music. I have a
Right.
product, and
It has to be produced,
yeah, and
manufactured.
supply chain issues are real.
Yeah. Okay. So let's talk about that for a second. Okay. Supply chain has been a buzzword in social media, online, the news for like 2 years now, or ever since COVID started, right?
Yeah.
Since we woke up and came out of our caves.
Yeah.
So, are you sourcing your stuff from China still? Because I heard one of your podcasts on e-commerce, and you were sourcing your content from China. You had a problem with the manufacturer. You had to go get another manufacturer that could produce
Right.
well because
Yes.
there's a lot of fake smoke and mirrors, and then you end up learning the hard way, right?
Oh
Which ties
yeah.
into one of my lessons earlier about like going through
Failing.
struggles. Yeah,
Oh
fail
right.
forward, right?
Yeah.
And so are you still getting your stuff from China?
We do have a manufacturer in China,
Okay,
but they're great. I just want to
okay,
point this out. We've been with them
okay,
since 2014, and it's like finding a needle in a haystack. Though we have
okay.
people sending us like fabric samples. I was going to show.
Oh, okay. Uh-huh.
Like I have these people just send us stuff,
It's like a
and
swath.
they're trying to get our business, and we try and try and try, and we have not found another one like the one we have. I
Okay.
don't know what it is,
Oh,
but if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
yeah.
Except for bringing it back to America, would love to do that.
That would be good. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, so if anybody's out there and you know one underwear manufacturer in America, that's like high quality, because then you still need the quality.
Yep.
And
Yep.
we just ran into a guy at a trade show in Denver this year, and he's made in America. And it was
Okay.
funny because they put us right next, well, one booth apart from each other. So I'm over there checking
Huh,
it out.
that's interesting.
They shouldn't have done that, but so I walk over there. We did a YouTube video about it. It's kind of funny, but I'm checking it out. I'm like, what is this? They just put this underwear company right next to us, made in America. He's a veteran. And
Oh
I'm,
boy.
feeling a little competitive, but ended up talking to, and we went to his website, and they're $80, $80 for a pair of underwear.
Wow, that's pretty high.
It's like, but if the quality's the quality, if it's
Yeah.
the best thing ever, then great.
Yeah.
Cause I love Lululemon pants, and they're like $130,
Oh
and
my God.
but they last, they're so good. So if
Yeah.
it's that good, it's that good. But I
Mhm.
promise Sheath is that good, and we have like 100% money back guarantee on the first pair. And even if 3 years will go by sometimes, and somebody will be like, my underwear got a hole in it.
Three
Boom.
years later, come
Yeah,
on.
we'll a lot of times we'll replace it. We kind of have just like a policy of take care of them. They are
Yeah.
here for us.
Yeah.
We're nothing without our customers, and we're just honored that we even get. We're
Yeah.
so
You want
grateful
you want
to.
that repeat business and the word of mouth. Yeah, of
Yeah.
course. Yeah.
And I've heard stories. I've been on the success track for many a year. And, Tony Huish or something like that from Zappos talks about his customer service, and they would do anything you asked. You could tell them, I need pizza, and they would order a pizza for you.
That's
Because,
amazing.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's the kind of
That's
response
valuable.
you want. And I've
Yeah.
been telling the
Yeah.
Zappos story for like 5
Yeah.
years.
I can hear
Because
Gary Vaynerchuk repeating this story too, right?
exactly, love
Yeah.
Gary. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've worked with his brother briefly, because he does Vayner Sports, and
Oh,
we were trying to do we sponsored one of their events in LA. It was a pre-ESPY awards show, and there was all these NFL players and NBA players, but I spent all my money to get there, and I took my
yeah, that's tough. That's a hit.
and to pay for the event, and then so I run into Robert Ory, and it's like, well, now you got to have money to pay these dudes. So I didn't know, I got nothing out of that deal, but
Oh,
it was
man.
kind of that was a learning experience.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's the thing. Like when you're starting off, man, there's so many different ways to spend money for sure, right?
Hmm.
You can throw money away left and right. Yeah,
Oh my God.
there's no
I
shortage
could,
of ways to spend money as a business owner.
yeah,
Yeah, right.
so
But
many.
what's the ROI though? That's the
Yes.
and when you're starting off, you're like, okay, I'm willing to take a hit here. I'm willing to take a hit over here. I'm
Hmm.
willing to sacrifice because I know it's good. It's going to be good for long term. And at some point, you're like, wait a minute, man, I need to start seeing some green, or I'm going to be out of business.
Yeah. And,
Right?
you can have relatively reasonable expectations for, well, it depends on what kind of business you're in. If it's a one product ever, or like a Mac, or some kind of computer where you only sell one every 5-10 years,
Oh yeah, that's
that's tricky. But
mm,
with Sheath, where were we? I went off on a sidetrack there.
Yeah, I don't know. We were talking. Well, we went on two different tangents there. I think we started off talking about going up and spending money on the advertising end with Gary Vaynerchuk, and we were talking about
Yeah.
customer service. And you
Yeah.
provided that underwear for that guy after 3 years because of a hole in it. Because
Yeah.
you'll do anything to make the customer happy, right?
Yeah.
So
I
where were we
lost
before
it.
that? I think
No,
before that.
after that. Sorry, I totally
No worries.
lost my
No
train
worries.
of thought.
We'll circle back, but let's go back to the beginning. The beginning question was like when you were getting started. I guess we were talking about where you were getting started. Where were we? I'm lost now too. So
So we're China. This is
oh, that's
horrible.
right. Yes, that's right. You were at the convention. Now we're back on track. You were at the
Oh,
convention,
right.
and they put you right next to that other veteran who had
Right.
he was selling underwear as well, but it was $80.
Yeah. So
Right. So,
you need,
but we were talking
okay.
about bring if you had the ability to bring your production here in the United States, that would be better for your business because you don't have to worry about supply chain issues, right?
Supply chain. That's where we go. That is where we were.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
with it kind of started coming up late last year around November, Christmas time, and you started seeing all those ships outside of LA, and they were all piled up. And we had product in some of those boats, and we've been doubling every year since like 2013, 2014. So we expected to double this year, and I remembered kind of whatever. We'll keep going with this. So with the supply chain issues, we're like, well, we need to order like more and more underwear
and have it in warehouse just so that you can provide
just
it
in
when you're ready.
case.
Right.
Yeah.
So have you been doing that?
Yeah.
So
you're
just backstocking, and now you're paying for storage, though. That's one of the downsides. Is now you got storage cost, right?
Yeah.
And if you're in California, that's very expensive. Have you decided to store it elsewhere outside of like the main metropolitan area to lower your cost?
I'm in Colorado, and we have a couple. So state, but and I'm in the mountains, but I'm paying. We have two different warehouses, but I'm noticing that the storage fees are going up, so it's like kind of like this give and take when it comes to that. Yeah. So, but I'd rather have it for right now. And the problem is that the economy is kind of dwindling a little bit with
the recession's looming.
Yeah. Inflation. Yeah. And I'm like, if this isn't the inflation, if this isn't the recession, then I'm not sure what is coming.
No, it's already here. It's just we haven't seen it in full effect yet, right? So this is like the birth pangs of it. It's happening, right? Yeah. Usually, what happens is some catastrophic event will happen. The company lays off a bunch of employees, and then it gets a lot of media attention, and then everybody starts panicking, right? That's kind of like what happens with the recession. But you just wake up and you're there. It's been happening over a long period of time. So, and I'm not an economist. I'm not an expert. I've just only lived through two of them. The Great Recession was a monster. I used to own an appraisal firm, and I had to shut it down as a consequence of the recession.
In 2008.
I ended up shutting it down at the end of 2010. But yeah,
right.
In 2008, my company made. Before that, it was six figures. Then in 2008, 52K. 2009, 27K. 2010, 6K the whole year. Income.
Oh wow!
Yeah. So I was I segued into education, became a substitute teacher, then a full-time teacher after that, because I had to survive. I had to do something to live. So I've taught for the past 12 years as a consequence of the recession.
Wow. It's trippy. This business, I'm so lucky and so grateful, and that's like I try to think like that's part of the success I've built.
But you had some rocky starts and you kept going, right? So like your perseverance, and you built a brand. You've made some connections with people that help get the brand out there, right? Which which has worked for you, which is great. And you've got this upward mobility momentum. And now you're making connections with like that person could, or any kind of other producer who can manufacture would, sometimes these companies will go and buy a supplier and they'll purchase them and bring them in-house so they don't have to outsource it anymore. And it's part of a revenue generator for for your company. That might be a strategy that you could,
it's like a vertical. There's the dude, he's he's also a veteran, Jocko Willink. He bought this company called Origin Maine and started making gis for jiu-jitsu here in
Oh,
America. And
wow.
they revamped a facility and got the loom and got it all working. And I mean, he's just kind of like orchestrating the whole thing, and he's running 5 different companies. I'm not exactly sure how people like run multiple companies. It's hard, because you want to focus on one thing typically, unless you're one of these just like Elon Musk types. But
Yeah.
I typically would say focus on, the prize, like fighters. We sponsor a lot of fighters, and the
Yeah.
mentality of a fighter is just, like you're putting it all on the line. You're risking everything. You're going in, it's you against someone else. But I don't know, you're always progressing, trying to get better. It's like inching better and better and better.
Well, it seems like you decided when you went all in with Sheath, you're like, I'm burning the bridge, I'm burning the ships.
Yes.
Right. I
Yes.
came here to conquer. I'm burning the ships. There's no retreating. We're
No
all
retreat.
in. We're all in.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Totally. I got Sheath tattooed on my back.
Yeah, I heard that. That's commitment.
You have to be like obsessed almost.
You do have to be obsessed. Yes.
You really do. And I am, but I love it also, which is fortunate. It's not like this thing I'm dreading. It's stressful though, checking
how many hours do you put in a day?
You can't really count them, because
I mean, there's like, you probably have ups and downs, right? Like swings where you'll put in like a 16-hour day, and then some days you might only put in 4. One day you might only put in 4 because you got other things going on, right?
It seems like every day. I mean, I pace myself because I work every day, and we are actually running one of the warehouses here in Woodland Park, Colorado, where we opened a store. Actually, you could come
get out of here. You did. Oh, cool.
Yeah. But it's mostly a warehouse, and then in the front there's a storefront.
Okay,
it's pretty cool. We get a couple of visitors here and there, but mostly we're shipping orders to the West Coast.
Are you selling other things like T-shirts, like the one that you're wearing as well?
Yeah.
Are you diversifying a bit?
Hats, a little bit, but the bread and butter is the underwear.
Yeah.
But
why not expand on the brand?
Oh no, yeah,
right. Because
people like it.
Diversity is important. And,
it helps.
If people love your brand, then they'll love the other things that you offer in your brand. Like Sheath could be like a sheath for a knife, right? Like it could be that totally. Too, right?
Oh yeah. Well, and it could also be she if you cut out the ATH. We introduced a women's line because forever, or from like 2010 to 2017, it was a men's pouch underwear company. It isolates the boys from the legs and it keeps everything situated. That's kind of like a sheath, if you will, for the boys, right?
Got it.
And I'm like, I'm not making a women's line. We're gonna specialize, because there's something to be said for specializing and just doing the one thing and being really good at it. Mm-hmm. Which was my angle, which I'm glad we did, because that got us to where we were. But then when women kept coming, feeling the fabric, and where's ours at? Where's our underwear? So finally I was like, okay, well, we'll do the women's line. And eventually I want to do socks because it's such a good fit.
Great.
They're already buying underwear, you buy some socks.
What about onesies?
I mean, it could go. People are always telling me shorts and pants and undershirts. And it's just, here's the thing. Like I said at the very beginning, we got really lucky with this manufacturer. It's super high quality, and we've tried other companies and I've just not been satisfied with the sock that I've got samples from. And that's the other thing. Sometimes you get a sample, and then when they do the mass production, it's not as good.
It's different. Yeah.
And that's what happened. That's just that happened with our very first run for the underwear. But actually the first production was good. And then I went to reorder, and they sent the second production was completely FUBAR'd. So, that took some, it was hard to accept that as it was happening. I was like, what is happening? Cause that was my first really huge failure.
That's a big burn.
To speak. Yeah.
What did you do with the stuff? Were you able to reuse the stuff? or did you have
I
to like dispose of it?
that's a well, see, because I had went and worked at a tailor, and but that was on a previous batch. So that was actually my second big failure. My first big failure was the very first order,
Mm-hmm.
and I rushed production. The pouches were too high. Like nobody liked them, and I had only ordered 1,000 pairs. But to me, like that was like, and that was all my money.
Right, you were all
And
in.
yeah, and 1,000 pairs is like, what are you going to do with 1,000 pairs of underwear? So like that set me back a good 3 years because I was like getting out of the army and transitioning. But I went and worked at a tailor. I fixed all of those, and that's how I was able to get that next prototype, which is when we did the Kickstarter, and that was like that production where it was good and then it was bad. And I think, I think we just we donated them. I
Okay.
think we donated them to
You just
Goodwill.
that was a big hit. So
Yeah.
you took a tax write off on that, right? But it didn't shut you down. It just set you back, and then you had to
Yes.
reboot. You had to go through another Kickstarter. You did it
That
again.
was the thing. That was the only thing. It's just like, what do we do? You can't do another Kickstarter. I don't want to ask for help as a man. It was like tough for me but I did it
But you did it.
ultimately, and it didn't take too long.
Did you have a lot of the same people come back again, or did you have
Yes,
a
that's
lot of
what
them?
was really
So
helpful.
you had commitment. So
Yeah.
you were developing a following. It's kind of like a cultish thing. I don't know if you're familiar with Russell Brunson, but he talks about like your fans are like your cult. They're like, oh no, I was thinking about Russell. What's his name? Russell Brunson from ClickFunnels.
Oh, sorry. No.
Yeah, no, Russell Branson. Richard Branson is
Richard
Virgin.
Branson. I'm
Yeah,
thinking
yeah,
of
yeah.
Russell Brand and Richard Branson. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. So, but he talks. He has a book called Expert Secrets, and he talks about building up your tribe, right? So it's like you're like a cult. They follow you, and they love you, and they're loyal to you. So that's what you got. That's what every business needs. Is you need your loyal fans, your brand ambassadors, right?
Yes.
So you've been good
absolutely.
about getting these brand ambassadors, like through social media personalities, the MMA stuff, and they have their following, and you bring them in, and that helps to grow that has really helped grow your business. It looks like. But before that, like going back to ground zero, you're coming in, you're establishing your trenches, which was Kickstarter, getting the funds in so you can get operational. And what did you have any kind of coaching for Kickstarter, or did you just do this like grassroots? I'm just diving in and figuring what the hell is going to happen.
Yeah, we looked at other Kickstarters that were successful and tried to do what they did.
Right?
Because an agency is going to tell you, they're going to be like, we're going to do it for you. And maybe they will, but then you got to pay all that money. And if it doesn't work, then what do you do?
Right.
I'm not sure. We like to do as much as we can in-house. But
trial and error.
Yeah. And we got lucky.
How long was your Kickstarter campaign?
A month.
It was 1 month. Okay.
Yeah.
And you did it 2 times, right? So the first time we were both.
I think the second one was either 45 days or 60 days because I was like, well, let's just give it more time.
Okay.
To be successful, because if it's not successful, then you have to give the
money back. Right. So you have to hit a certain threshold, right? With Kickstarter, like you have to say, I'm going to raise X amount of dollars, and if you go above that, that's great, fantastic. Yeah. But if you don't hit it, then you don't get the money at all, right?
Yeah, exactly. But I was gonna sell my car if we were like within $5,000. I was gonna sell my car and get the money and make get it in there.
Don't put it in there, okay?
Yeah, somehow I give it to my mom to turn it all around because
so you can hit the threshold.
I needed to hit and I had already made the down payment both times, and I had made the down payment on the production. So I was all I was really needing was the extra 60%. Balance, and I kind of put like you said earlier, like burning your ships and just like no retreat. I'm all in, and
you gotta figure out a way to make it happen.
And
so like sorry, go ahead.
No, I mean that's part of the principles, and you've been talking about them
that's really awesome, man. So God, man, I could talk to you for hours about how your business is growing, what the challenges you've struggled with, and because it's all it's all educational, right? It's so didactic for people to listen to this stuff and figure out, okay, this is what I need to pay attention to right now so I can deal with this in my business, right? I need to go back and listen to this again in the future so I can listen to it and figure out what I need to do with this other thing when it comes up, right? Because that's how life is, right? With our businesses, it's an administrative thing. It's financial, right? How do I gather money? I need to do a Kickstarter. Then it's like, how do I get clients? Well, I gotta collaborate, right? If I
Yeah.
don't have an audience, I gotta borrow somebody else's audience, and I can give them a piece of the pie for doing that, right?
I think if you have a successful Kickstarter, people start reaching out to you to try to like sell
Collaborate.
you, collaborate and sell, and like kind of not even sell you on their services, but maybe, because I
Okay.
remember there was another successful Kickstarter named Eric Wright, something. He did these cell phone cases. I mean, it was successful, but then what do you do when they change to the next cell phones,
Oh, your
style?
case doesn't fit anymore, right?
Right. So now he's stuck with a closet full of cell phone cases,
Oh
but he had
gosh. Mm.
all these emails, this email list, and he built up a bunch of supporters that were willing to support people trying to like live out their dream. And it was a better
Okay.
time. The economy was like a little bit better at the time, I think, and
Yeah.
people were just really hungry to support, and just and I paid for some of his services. He would send out an email to his people, and then we would get sales, and I would give him, like a cut of it. And
Okay.
so emails and word of mouth, and then just really, you kind of have some organic sales coming in that people are searching for. I mean, in my case, they were searching for a product like what I invented with the
Okay.
pouch underwear. Yeah.
Okay.
And
So
so, and when on slow days, you just like, there's periods when it's low. I couldn't, we always would do something to kind of light the flame. So we send out an email, we do a sale, we do a social media post, do a social media ad. And slowly but surely, we started like meeting influencers, and that were reasonably priced. Some of them these days are insane. Like, you might pay $20,000 for a 1-minute ad on a podcast where there's 6 other ads. And you
wow.
might, and I lost 10 grand in like
One episode, one
thing.
thing,
Yeah.
one investment.
Bill Burr and Burt Kreischer, they're like really big comedians. People might have heard of them, and it didn't work. Whereas a lot of our other, I have a Michael Malice and Dave Smith, and quite a handful of other. We use comedy as a way to break through the kind of barrier of people's resistance to try something new. Which it can be just underwear, but it also has the pouch, and the pouch is a little different. And you might be like, I'm good. I'm not interested. But with comedy, it kind of, a lot of times it will break through. And with the fighters, they weigh in the underwear. They look tough. They also like manly, like kind of cool. So that is another.
It's a good strategy for sure.
Yeah, and we just stuck with it, and it's just stuff that I happen to like.
So
and,
you keep repeating what works on that far. Are you using micro influencers as well, or are you just doing the macro? You do both.
And we try to do the micro. We have a lot of macros. World champions and dudes with millions of followers on YouTube, and they work.
Okay,
but not all the time.
Are you using a management company to get you these people, or are you guys doing it in-house, finding the people that you want to work with and then reaching out to them?
It started with, by ourselves, and, just luck. I remember I was working with this guy that I met online, and he was interested. I think he saw the Kickstarter and he wanted to help. And we worked for quite a while, like a year or more. And he found this company, Menfluential. Shout out to, if you have a men's product, Menfluential, reach out to them. They have some good talent. There's thought leaders, and then I work with like Gas Digital Network and Paragon something, and I work with agents who work with the artists typically. And sometimes I work directly with the artist, but it's a lot, and there's a lot of people.
That's the whole thing, is like when you get as the CEO of the company, you've got a whole lot of other responsibilities. At some point, your time is limited, and you have to outsource these things to other people, which is going back to how some people own multiple businesses. the only way you can do that is you have to have good support teams that are running the other businesses for you, and they
Yeah.
report to you, and then you just check
Yeah.
in. That's the only
Good
way you can
point.
do it, right?
Yeah,
You
totally.
can't juggle all the balls. You cannot do it. It's impossible.
Sheath. Anyways, I mean, that reminded me kind of, we were talking earlier about meeting that other dude who was having his product made in America. And, I felt almost bad for him because he didn't sell like one. I think he might've sold one pair. I don't know. And we sold hundreds of pairs, and we're selling them
at the trade show.
Yeah, I think that's I lost my train of thought. I feel really bad about that, but yeah.
Don't worry. I mean, all of this content's fantastic, and everybody's gonna be eating this up and being like, "Wow, this is great." So don't worry. This is all helpful. Yeah.
Yeah. So but there's a trade-off, and he was so nice, and he was super cool, and he told me how to get it made in America. But then I went and looked and did the research. Costly? No, I couldn't. He said he gave, it was called like Lemonade Stand. He said, go to lemonadestand.com, which was like this weird name. And I was like, oh, it must be like this secret. Cause try to find like Google manufacturers in America. It's like, you can't find them. Yeah.
But what if you just make it yourself? Like, what if you create your own manufacturing center, right? Like there's shops all over. Like, I know they're in Houston and I know they're in New York City, right?
Yeah. Okay.
There's some in Miami too. I think in Hialeah, right?
Oh, in LA. Right.
So like you get a warehouse, you put the machines in there, you get the workers, you teach them how to do the product, and now you got your production company, your manufacturing facility.
Right. I want to grow the fabric and cut it. And
oh my God, that's even better, right?
Yeah. So from seed to sell,
right?
Say. Well, that would be the ultimate.
Yeah, well, you got to get some land in Africa, right, where you can grow the Egyptian cotton or whatever the product is going to be made out of, right?
I'm in Colorado. Make it out of some kind of hemp blend. There's a lot of options, and hemp. I'm surprised we haven't done hemp already because it would be kind of trendy. Be like,
okay, see, now there you go. Now that's on the list, right?
Yeah, exactly. And we have no shortage of ideas. It's only executing.
Right.
It's just, and I want to play chess. I like to play the piano and
to have some free time and do that.
Yeah.
Me too.
Meditate. I have to meditate a lot just to like keep it all together because it's a lot.
Yeah.
As we're growing. Yeah. But it helps. Day. Me too.
Is that your morning routine? What's your morning? That's one of my questions on my list. I have a list of questions that I like to ask my guests, and the first thing is on here was, what does your morning routine look like?
I mean, I get
so let's dive into that one since it was a good segue.
Nice. I get up, I make my coffee. I get a pretty big 32-ounce thing of water. I go sit down and I start meditating. I do about 10 to 15 minutes. I do what's called transcendental meditation, but it's also sometimes if I can't get deep, I'll do like a guided meditation from like an app.
Okay. But you have Headspace?
I have Mesmerize.
Oh, okay. I haven't heard of them. Okay.
It has like cool visuals, but I don't even look at visuals. I like to hear them just talk.
Wait, when you're doing your transcendental meditation, is it with music in the background? Do you listen to like frequencies?
A little bit of
like chanting bowls or something.
Yeah,
like that?
Exactly.
I love chanting bowls. It's awesome.
Yes, exactly. I have some over here, and I get so deep, like where I'm just like it's almost like this like kind of nirvana. I'm pulsing. I'm like grateful for this moment because it feels like very blissful, and I feel awesome. Like I'm recharging. I'm charging up. Everything's getting primed, and within about 10 minutes or 15, it depends on how much I need. My eyes will pop open, and I'm like, okay, that's good. I was doing a lot of Wim Hof breathing, but since I've been doing this meditation, I feel like I don't necessarily need to do that as much, but I'll chug my water, make sure I drink the full thing of water before, in my coffee. And then I read. I'm reading Hero. What is it? With 1,000 Faces by Joseph Campbell. I think that's what it's called.
Oh, neat.
Yeah. It's really good. About just all the mythologies and the hero's journey of all the different cultures of the forever. It's really cool.
Awesome.
As a young man or whatever, a man in general, it's very, it's good. It's like there's a psychological component to mythology and understanding our place in this world. And so that's pretty cool. So I read, I'll go for a jog, do some pull-ups, and then, we'll start probably having a meeting or so.
Right. Okay. So you got your physical, mental, and spiritual wellness. Check, check, check. That's every day, right? Or
Yeah.
as much as you can.
I mean,
make it happen almost every day.
I'll meditate every day.
Perfect.
Might not work out every day. I might not read every day, but
There's a strong correlation with that, with success.
Well, I need it.
It's critical. Yeah. I mean, you have to be in the flow, and you have to be present, right?
Yeah.
Right. Living in the present. So like that. So starting your day off with like a morning routine and getting those things in balance and alignment it's every successful person does this. I mean, like it's standard. It's standard operating procedure.
Yeah. And I'm not even inventing, I'm not inventing anything. I'm just following the blueprint. And I feel like that's why I wanted to come on here and talk about how I kind of did what I did, because I started with that book, way back when I was young. It took a few years to like germinate and kind of think I could even do something different than what I was doing, what everyone else was doing, which is just, you get your job and you work your job and you do your thing. But I wanted something bigger and more. And I would look, at not movie stars, but businessmen that kind of made it and be like, I could, I want to do that.
Exactly. What one man can do, another can do.
Yeah. And the book says it, the book Think and Grow Rich, it has all, you don't have to be a genius. You don't have to be tall or good looking, but there's something, and it can be learned, and it's just a way of doing things. And I think there's a little bit of magic, but it could all just be in the mind, which the fact that we're even alive is magic. So
yes, it is something 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love it. So I love Think and Grow Rich. Napoleon Hill is my number one favorite mentor, like, quasi mentor, because he's not here, but he's still our mentor, right? Because he gave it to us a long time ago. But I also love James Allen. I don't know if you're familiar with James Allen, but he wrote As a Man Thinketh.
Oh, yeah, of course.
And
I've heard of that book.
Well, As a Man Thinketh came before Think and Grow Rich. It was in the late 1800s, like 1890s. So Napoleon Hill was like 1920s to 1940s.
Interesting.
Yeah. So go back and watch James Allen, As a Man Thinketh. It ties right in, right? So if you circle back, there's actually a couple of other books that preceded this Think and Grow Rich thought phenomenon, and it's really amazing. Look, I would love to have a copy of the originals, just because I'm a bookworm, and just as we like our tokens, right? We like our gold. That for me, that's gold.
Yeah. Oh my God. It's such gold. It's priceless. Right? Oh,
absolutely. Yeah. Like to have an original manuscript from Napoleon Hill would be like, wow, that's treasure. That's treasure for me.
Yeah. I'll like cry. I get so inspired, and I only have a few more minutes, but like, but like I'll be reading it, and if you're reading the book and you get an inspiration to go do something, close the book and go do it.
Absolutely.
Like, do the thing, go do it. And it's all about like action. So many people have told me, oh, I had that idea about the pouch underwear, and
but they didn't take action.
Exactly. and I had a previous idea, because I could go on for hours too. I really appreciate you having me on here, but I had a previous idea that I gave up on. It was these keys, crazy. They were like, I was going to turn keys into jewelry. I was like, you carry around these keys all the time. Let's make them cool.
That's cool. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, now you paint your favorite Super Bowl or football team or, whatever art on the key. And that's close enough. I'm not going to go try to like beat them now. They beat me to market. I had the idea in 2000 and it came out around 2006. And when I saw it, and I knew I had given up on that, and I knew it was a good idea. I thought it was.
Yeah. But you got to take momentum.
Yeah. Well, you got to take action and don't quit, because once you quit, it's over, and someone else
is going to jump in. Right. Yeah. Success loves momentum, and you got to jump in right when it's hot. So Man, I know that you only got 5 more minutes, and I thank you so much. And we're gonna have to do another sequel, right,
I
to
would
this
love
down the
to.
road.
I
That
would
would
love
be
to.
super cool. So
Yeah.
before we wrap up, I want to find out where our viewers can learn more about you. So I want to add it into our show notes. If you could
Thank you.
give me your company's web address, that would be
All
super
right.
cool.
It's Sheath, SHEATH underwear.com. And, you know, it's
And
on all the socials. Just if you look at like Sheath or Sheath Underwear, you'll probably find us.
and then for Instagram at Bobby the Bank, and
Yeah,
that's where they can connect with you on Instagram, right?
that's me. Yeah. And I
Cool.
have my Robert Patton Global podcast, which is this is this is almost more fun. And maybe you can come on my podcast.
That would be awesome. Now there's two of us. This is a father and son show. Sebastian's
Right.
out sick right now, but yeah, it'll be the two of us. Yeah, we would love to do that. That would be super cool.
Yeah, this was very fun. I really enjoy your company. You know, I think
Likewise.
we're on a very similar kind of train of
Brainwave.
thought.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. So
yep. Oh, that's what I was gonna say, man. Before you go, I gotta give you
yeah.
one more book tip. So have you heard of the Silva method, Jose Silva?
I've heard of the Silva method.
Okay, so yeah, he was in the army and he was a radio man, and then he started using frequency to get ESP, extrasensory perception,
Mm-hmm.
and he has, I mean, thousands upon thousands of cases that have worked, and
Mm-hmm.
this guy came in and bought the rights to it because he passed away already. He's been gone since the 90s, and his daughter gave the rights to this other guy who created mindvalley.com.
Okay.
And now the Silva method is inside of Mind Valley, but you can find the original books. And so, yeah, I actually just downloaded it on Hoopla because I have Hoopla connected to my library account. So I just downloaded it. So I'm going to start listening to the audio,
Interesting.
the audiobook. Yeah.
I'll have to check that out.
Why not? Right.
Yeah, no, definitely. Like frequency, it's all vibrations.
It is
it's
all vibrations, man.
fucking
Yep.
vibrations.
Like Bob Proctor, man. Yeah. No,
Oh
no
my
worries.
God. Love Bob. If I could meet Bob.
He's
Oh,
dead.
man.
You know, he passed away recently.
No.
Man. Yes, he passed away like 2 months ago, man.
Oh no.
Yeah, I know. I wanted to meet him too, man. Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah, but you know, he's living on, man. He's just he's in the other side. You know what I mean?
Such an inspiration.
Yeah.
So
super
cool.
super freaking awesome, man.
Love
well,
you,
listen,
Bob.
dude, it was such a pleasure having you on the show, man. Really, we got to meet in person sometime too, man. I think we're gonna have a beer together sometime.
That sounds fabulous.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, John. Thank you, everyone.
Let me know when you want us to come on your show, and we'll put this into the show notes so they can learn more about your products. Okay.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, John.
All right. Thank you.
You guys
have a good night.
Have a good night. Okay.
All right. You take care. Thanks. Bye-bye.